I loved the original source material for Dirk Gently. The book was hilarious, creepy, and it fit in perfectly with the rest of Douglas Adams' work. I wasn't quite as big a fan of the second book, but what I did like was the first TV show, starring Stephen Mangan as Dirk and Darren Boyd as Richard Macduff, and both are fantastic in these roles. That show is what introduced me to the books, but even after reading them and going back to it, I still loved it. It's got a great pace, great writing. I wish it could have kept going for longer. So when I heard they were making a new show... What the hell is this? That's not... No! That's not Dirk! That's Dan and Phil! Both of them! At the same time! But after everybody else wouldn't stop telling me how much they loved this show, I sat and watched every episode. And you know what? I enjoyed it. Now I'm going to compare the two different TV shows, since nobody on the internet seems conscious of the fact that this was already a TV show before. Thing number one to compare, I guess. Dirk. Okay, so let's get my biggest gripe with the new show out of the way quick. Neither show is especially faithful to the Dirk Gently shown in the book. That Dirk is older and more serious in how he thinks about his job as a detective. If they did an adaptation that was trying to be more in line with the original, I think Toby Jones would be the perfect actor to play Dirk. And then you could go full detectorists and have Mackenzie Crook play Macduff. Stephen Mangan's incarnation of Dirk is pretty much a con man, and while his theories always end up being true, he's not happy about it if he didn't get paid. He's clever, insensitive, excitable, and sarcastic. His performance definitely had a charm to it, and while some may have thought he was too annoying, these two don't even compare on that front. Now, look, I'm sure Sam Barnett is a fine man. I do not wish to affront his person in any way. If Sam Barnett and or his family are watching this, I wish you all the best. But that said, this performance is just a bit too much 100% of the time. He's obnoxious and honestly never came across as clever to me. He was just a discount Matt Smith. Luckily, there are plenty of other fantastic characters in this show. But not Dirk. Dirk's annoying and I hate him. Thing number two to compare. Recurring characters, or supporting characters, or whatever. The most memorable character from the first show, other than Dirk himself, was his assistant Macduff.
Why am I not surprised you've got an escape route?
Darren Boyd played the straight man in the show well. There was also Dirk's receptionist, Janice, because did I mention the 2010 Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency actually contains Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency? Anyway, other than those two, the cast keeps changing every episode since there isn't an overarching plot like the new show has, and I don't really remember any of the other characters. Except that one from that one episode that I can't describe without spoiling that particular episode's twist. The other characters are definitely the new show's strong point. My favorites were Bart the Holistic Assassin and Ken. I would be totally fine with it if the show was just about them.
I don't know where they're singing from.
They're not singing anywhere. It's a recording.
Oh!
Elijah Wood is pretty good as Todd, who's essentially Macduff without being British. Although he kept reminding me of Todd from BoJack Horseman, and the fact they both have the same name and are both on Netflix original shows didn't let me forget that quickly. The Chicken Man from Toy Story 2 also shines as this season's main antagonist. The whole cast has such a great energy. Dirk has too much energy, though. Calm down, Dirk. Please. You're scaring the children. Thing 3. Setting, or recurring situation, formula, whatever you'd call this. The 2010 show had Dirk and Macduff solving a new mystery every episode, and that works for me. I thought of it as the sillier version of Sherlock. Before Sherlock decided to be the sillier version of Sherlock. The pilot is about time travel, and there's some other science fiction-y stuff in some other episodes, but I thought of it as more of a comedy mystery show. The new show, on the other hand, doesn't really have that much mystery solving in it. It was more of a science fiction adventure series. The show I hear it compared to most often is Doctor Who. Sorry, I thought about Peter Capaldi's Doctor Who. It would have been nice to have a show to fill that void until Moffat finally quits and the show gets good again. Or until Moffat finally quits and the show continues to be terrible, but that's not really how Dirk Gently 2016 struck me. Barnett's obviously trying to play a Matt Smith kind of character, but without the bit where he stops being annoying even for 5 seconds, but the rest of the show is structured and presented differently to Doctor Who. Also, Doctor Who tries to take itself seriously when they decide they're going to have a scary, spoopy villain, but it hasn't pulled off a serious tone in a while, and it doesn't try to very often. But one thing I can't fault the new Dirk Gently on is the tone. It knows how seriously to take things and when to best exploit the comedy in a situation. The books were interesting because they mixed comedy and drama far more than The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy ever did. To me, it feels like the tone was a bit divided, and I think each show tried to adapt different tonal sections of the books. The 2010 show feels like it perfectly captures the comedy of the books, and the new show feels like it perfectly captures the tone of the more serious moments. Final thing, the theme music. The new show is all plung, 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 plung. But the old show was all bam, 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 so the old show wins. Final thoughts. These are both great shows. I personally prefer the old one, and it's probably because of the Dirks, but it's down to taste. Do you prefer a mostly comedic mystery show or a darkly comedic drama science fiction? And can you stand Pee Wee Herman playing your favorite detective? Because I sure can't, sorry. Sorry, it's just... I like the rest of the show. Especially Bart. Bart's hilarious. Please don't hate on me for not liking this Dirk. Who am I kidding? People are gonna hate me for this no matter what I say. Forgive me, Internet, for having an opinion. Please, forgive me. Oh, yeah, and I haven't read the comic book. So, no idea how that fits into all this. IDW has a pretty good track record, but, you know,